Welcome to Daily Dose of Satanism, podcast to get your daily dose of Satanism. I'm your host, Satan. I'm an author of satanic books as well as my blog that you can check out at satanwolf.com. It's 100% free. Now, we do have some really cool merchandise you can purchase, from books to clothes and accessories. There's a wide selection of both satanic and non-satanic products to choose from for those who've got a rebellious sense of style. While we always appreciate your support, this is the best way to support the show. You can also give us a like or a share or a subscription at any one of our multiple platforms, from Facebook to Spotify. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
Since this is the first episode of the show, I want to give a little disclaimer that I will be working on improving the audio sound as I get a little better at this. And just to let you know, I'm kind of reading from a script that I've written, and I'll speak a little bit off script with my thoughts and opinions. But if you notice a change in tone, that's exactly what's going on. But just notice this, it is my writing, okay? I'm not plagiarizing anything. I just don't want anybody to think like, he's reading something, you know? All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get on with the show. First of all, you may be asking yourself, what is this thing called Satanism? There is a full explanation on my website at satanwolf.com under what the hell is Satanism. However, in short, Satanism is an atheistic religion that rejects the supernatural. It is a philosophy of self-deification, meaning we are our own gods. Now, this doesn't mean that we think we are the creators of the universe or we can turn water into wine and nothing crazy like that. Just that we depend on ourselves to be our own saviors, and we believe in responsibility to the responsible, and we view sin not as an evil thing to be ashamed of, but rather part of our human nature and experience that, when indulged, are either emotionally or mentally gratifying and is sometimes necessary in order to protect your personal freedoms and boundaries. And from that last part of this take, you guys all know, like, if you've read the Bible, the Satanic Bible, and it's like, destroy him. LaVey uses some strong language sometimes. It's a bit of his poetic flair, but if you take it into context, I don't think it physically means we destroy everybody that crosses us. Obviously, none of us would be able to function in survival, and that would kind of go against our first law, the law of self-preservation. So it's just more referring to the fact that, you know, somebody does something to you and you have to retaliate so that they know that they can't just do it to you again. And in the harder parts of life, sometimes this is just necessary. We are not devil worshippers. Sorry, that's more of a Christian thing, as we don't believe in the devil as a literal sentient being, but rather a symbol that best represents what we are about. Welcome to Daily Dose of Satanism. I am your host, Satan Wolf, and for this inaugural episode, we are starting at the only place that makes sense, the very foundation. We are going to dedicate this entire show to answering one vital question. What is Satanism? And just as importantly, what is this podcast you're listening to? Assuming you are a first-time listener, you're probably here to find out what to expect and determine if this show is right for you. If you're new to Satanism itself, looking to learn more, then you've come to the right place. Or perhaps you're a satanic OG. You've been on this path for a long time and wish to know if we are on the same page. I respect that. Because let's be clear from the outset, there are a lot of pretenders out there, groups that operate under a veneer of Satanism, like the Satanic Temple, for example, none of which are authentically satanic. Satanism, true Satanism, is a religion which must be gatekept. Now, I will get into that more in a future show, as I believe it's a critical issue worth discussing in depth, but for today, let's lay the groundwork. Let's get to what is Satanism. Alright, so let's begin by tearing down the biggest, most persistent lie, the one propagated by terrified Christians and sensationalist media for decades. Satanism is an atheistic philosophy. Let me be clear, we do not worship the devil, we do not believe in the existence of a supernatural entity named Satan, nor do we believe in a god, demons, or devils, or angels. The Christian cosmology is not our cosmology. We reject it entirely. What sane person believes in the boogeyman? Not I. So again, the immediate and logical question is, if you don't worship him, why use the name Satan at all? Because Satan is the most powerful symbol of what we represent. Satan, from the Hebrew, means the adversary, the accuser, or the opposition. In literature, he is a figure who questioned the arbitrary authority of God, who chose to rule in hell rather than to serve in heaven. He who championed knowledge and earthly pleasure over blind faith and spiritual obedience, he is the eternal rebel. For us, Satan is the archetype of pride, liberty, and unapologetic individualism. We do not bow before a throne. We see ourselves in the figure who refused to bow. At its absolute core, Satanism is a religion of self-deification. The Satanist looks at the universe, sees no presiding deity, and declares, "I am my own God. Our lives, our choices, and our destinies are our own responsibility. We are the center of our own subjective universe, and we are the highest authority in our own lives. There's no higher power to appeal to and no one else to blame." This foundational principle gives rise to the core tenets of our philosophy. First, indulgence, not compulsion. This is a key statement from the Satanic Bible. Unlike religions that demand self-denial or guilt over other natural human desires, Satanism advocates for the full enjoyment of life's pleasures, be they mental, emotional, or physical. This is not a mindless, self-destructive sort of hedonism. It is a rational self-gratification. A Satanist indulges in their desires, but is never compelled or controlled by them. We embrace the 7 so-called deadly sins, not as vices, but as natural human drives that, when intelligently applied, lead to a fulfilling and successful life. Second, our system of ethics is not based on turning the other cheek, but on lex talionis, the law of retaliation. Our guiding principle is do unto others what they do unto you. We treat people with the respect and kindness that they show us. But if someone intentionally wrongs us, we believe it is not only a right, but a moral imperative to return that negative energy in kind. We see this as a vital form of self-defense, a way to establish and protect our personal boundaries. Unconditional love and forgiveness are, to us, unnatural and dangerous concepts that empower predators and punish the virtuous. We extend responsibility to the responsible and give justice in whatever form it requires to our enemy. Third, Satanism is a philosophy of stratification. We reject the modern saccharine notion that all people are equal. This is demonstrably false. People differ widely in their intelligence, competence, creativity, and ambition, etc. Satanism advocates for an elitism of the able, a true meritocracy. We judge individuals on their merit, on their competence, accomplishments, and actions, not on arbitrary and irrelevant factors like race, nationality, or sexual orientation. We believe society should be structured in a way that allows the strong, the brilliant, and the driven to rise, and the weak and incompetent and the lazy to fall. We believe in taking care of our own and wasting no concern on those who refuse to take care of themselves, what we often refer to as psychic vampires. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsor, me, and then we'll dig a little bit deeper into what is this thing called Satanism. So let me take a minute to tell you about Satan Wolf's Den. Satan Wolf's Den is my website, which is the home of my satanic blog, which is free, and much more. It's a place designed to be both a learning resource and a store. You will find it at satanwolf.com. On the site, you will find a page called What the Hell is Satanism? This resource is perfect whether you're new to Satanism and want to learn more, or you're already a Satanist who needs a quick way to explain it to friends, family, or someone you're debating with. Instead of having to explain everything repeatedly, you can just simply direct them to this page, allowing them to read and learn at their own pace, the satanic way. You can also explore Satan Wolf's library, which features all of my published works, along with a collection of blank books for you to use as your own satanic grimoires. We have an extensive product line from satanic t-shirts, phone cases, and hoodies, shorts, leggings, coffee mugs, playing cards, etc. Alright everybody, let's get back to the show by discussing the most important law of Satanism. The sanctity of life. Satanists believe that life is the great indulgence and death is the great abstinence. As such, life is the most sacred thing we possess. This is why we have no desire to end it needlessly. We do not believe in or practice animal or human sacrifice or any kind of killing for ritualistic or sensational reasons. The only justification for taking a life are for food or in defense of oneself. The principle of self-preservation is the highest law of Satanism. The sanctity of life. Satanists believe that life is the great indulgence and death is the great abstinence. As such, life is the most sacred thing we possess. This is why we have no desire to end it needlessly. We do not believe in or practice animal or human sacrifice or any kind of killing for ritualistic or sensationalist reasons. The only justifications for taking a life are for food or in defense of oneself. This principle of self-preservation is the highest law of Satanism. And finally, magic. What about the rituals, the altars, the black robes? This is what LaVey defined as magic, but it's crucial to understand what he meant. Satanic magic is not supernatural. It is not about casting spells or summoning spirits per se. It is applied psychology. LaVey divided it into two categories, greater magic and lesser magic. Now let's take a look at both of these. Okay, greater magic. This is the ritual chamber. It is psychodrama. It's a tool for purging and focusing emotional energy that cannot be productively released in your daily life. If you harbor an intense rage or a consuming love, you can perform a ritual to decompress that emotion, achieve catharsis, and focus your will on the desired outcome. While we see this as a purely psychological therapeutic tool, the focused will and emotional energy can yield tangible real-world results. We don't view this as supernatural magic, but rather as a phenomenon that science has yet to fully understand or explain. It is a direct application of our carnal will to the universe around us. Lesser magic, on the other hand, this is the magic of the real world. It is the art and science of influencing people and situations through applied psychology. It involves understanding human nature, using aesthetics, charm, body language, and carefully chosen words to bend the world to your will. It is the skill of manipulation used every day by the most successful people on earth, whether they label it magic or not. So to bring it all together, Satanism, as defined by Anton LaVey, is a carnal, atheistic, and elitist philosophy of rational self-interest. It is a meritocracy. It is a religion of the flesh, not the spirit. It is a celebration of the here and now, not a preparation for a mythical afterlife. It is a worldview for the few, the outsider, the born questioner who has always seen the world for what it is and has refused to kneel. It is not a religion of conversion. You are either born a Satanist or you are not. We simply provide the label and the framework for what you have always been. Now, before we end the show, I just want to take a minute to do a little bit of what I like to call freeballing. We're going to go completely off script and just kind of give my take, uncensored, on what is Satanism to me. I remember when I first found my first copy of the Satanic Bible, I picked it up for research. I was planning on writing a book, and I needed to understand Satanism a bit better. So I purchased the book and began to read it, and it was like, wow, everything in here is how I've always felt. But I felt so isolated because you couldn't express that to people. Like, everybody down here in the South is all Christianized, and, you know, Satanism is like, ooh. So I was a little standoffish, and I took my time to be sure that the philosophy was for me. And when I couldn't find any reason not to, I figured it out one day, and it's like, you know, I'm a Satanist. And honestly, it did have something to do with the timing of a friend of mine's murder. A very good friend of mine who was a very righteous Christian, not just walking the walk. I mean, this guy was really into it and helping people out a lot, doing, you know, he was a good guy. I'd known him for a very long time. And when he was murdered by another Christian from the church while they were bringing supplies to rescue supplies to the victims in North Carolina, it was like, you know, this is a sign for me. Just go ahead and be out with it. And that's what I did. Because for me, I cannot do fake. You know, I don't put on a front with Satanism. You may or may not choose to be open with your religion. We're a bit different than other religions in that way. Me, I choose to be open because I'm a very straightforward person. I have a hard time just cutting down what I think in my mouth. It gets me in trouble sometimes. But the great thing about Satanism to me is it is a religion that actually helps make life better. It doesn't just explain a few things to you or, you know, tell you, it helps you become better. It's a look at what I like to call the black mirror of self, where you have to spend a lot of time in reflection and determining what is your moral code, what are your ethics, morals, beliefs, you know. And then once you figure out yourself, you know, you're like, well, what can I do to make my life better? Applying Satanism is all about progressing your life. You know, that's how you grow in Satanism. It isn't by how much text you can learn or how good you can recite verses. It's how can you apply it in your life and grow. And so to gain rank in the Church of Satan, you have to show real life application of Satanism, growth. I think it's a very good standard to hold it to, especially because we are a meritocracy. So, for example, I became crippled about a year ago, a little under a year ago, a whole long other story. And that was a whole lot for me to go into as a Satanist. And I had to figure out a way to work around it, not just sitting there hoping and praying that things would get better. And I'm still working on it to this day. As a result, you have this podcast. This wouldn't have been possible if I wouldn't have had all the extra time from being crippled. I wouldn't have been able to spend the amount of time that I did studying and writing and creating and learning to get to this point. But ultimately, my point is that Satanism does make your life better. Other religions just make you feel better. That's a key difference. There is so much on this episode that I could get into in depth, and I will. I have lots more coming up, lots of more episodes where I plan on speaking on a lot of these things a lot further. I just wanted to get a good general, brief introduction to Satanism for all my listeners. That way, maybe you find my card or something and you come to this podcast just trying to check it out because you don't really know and you want to learn. Well, this is the right place for you. You can also go to my website, again, satanwolf.com. Appreciate all the traffic. Even if you don't buy anything, all the web traffic does help me improve my SEO, things of that nature. And I guess that's about all I'm going to say for this episode. I'll wait for the future episodes to expound further on more issues. I know this episode may be a little bit short, but as a first episode, I'm still kind of working out the kinks, as it will. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'd love to hear your feedback, so feel free to contact me through my website at satanwolf.com. Send an email with your thoughts, opinions, criticisms, or questions. Who knows, I might even read your message and my response on a future episode. Your support means everything. I love doing this, and it wouldn't be possible without you. Until next time, farewell. May critical thinking forever guide your path. Our Father, who art in hell, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in hell. We take this night, our rightful dues, and trespass not on passive pain. Lead us unto temptation, and deliver us from false piety. For this is thy kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever.
Satanwolf.com.
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 Daily Dose of Satanism.